everybody, and welcome along to the fourth round of FHK League Season 2. And today we are going to the Austria ring, or the Red Bull ring as you like to call it, for the Austrian Grand Prix. I prefer it as the Red Bull ring or the A1 ring, but I know people would like to differ for my opinion. But anyway, my name is Jesper, and joining me in the commentary box, he is back after a couple of weeks off. We've got Paul. Welcome back, Paul. How are you doing?
I'm very good. I'm very excited to be back again, especially at this track, one of my favourite tracks. I don't think many people appreciate this track for what it is. It's super simple, but that means we get great racing on it. So I'm very excited to be back and to see what racing we're going to get today.
Yes, exactly. And we've now got two tiers in FHK. Unfortunately, Tier 1 did not have enough numbers to race today, but we are still going with Tier 2. So some people that usually are going to race in Tier 1, you will see in Tier 2. And we got some new faces that will be taking some full-time spots for the time being, which is great to see as well. But we may as well go through the driver's standings to what happened last week, and we saw Ruff take the win, his second race win of the season, and he got 26 points. And we had Scars, who finished in, well, he finished in, got 11 points. MX Fan did quite well as well last week as well, but there was quite a few people that did not score points. Ginge got a podium as well last week. Jason scored 12 points. There was quite a few people for getting 5-second penalties for reset to tracks as well. And luckily, Austria is a track where hardly any DNFs happen, but with people pushing it too much sometimes at the shortest lap on the calendar, you never know what could happen. But we'll look at the team standings, because that's what matters rather than drivers. We've got Aston Martin that are leading the way, 83 points to Alpine's 71. We've got Haas on 46, Alfa Romeo on 44, Mercedes on 36, Williams on 31, McLaren on 23, Red Bull on 22, Ferrari on 20, and AlphaTauri on 15. Now, for those of you that are wondering, for those that have moved over to Tier 1, the points from the constructors, they pretty much stay with the team, but with the drivers, they will start from scratch whenever they're in Tier 1. But if they're in Tier 2, obviously the points stay the same. But Miami was quite a bit chaotic last week, but let's hope we don't have the same this week. And we're back to full qualifying again.
Yeah, I mean, I caught that Miami race last week, or at least bits of it, while I was busy sorting out other things. And yeah, it definitely became a war of attrition, didn't it, that race? And Alpine especially took a very large hit in the constructors for the amount of points gained from that one, losing the lead in that Constructors' Championship in the process. So I'm sure Hud and Co will be eager to try and get more points on the board to try and retake the lead of that Constructors' Championship here in Austria. I know Hun's been practicing and finding some time around the track and finessing that setup in the rundown to this. So definitely putting in the effort where it's needed to try and get those points back. It's now just a matter of getting it done, making it happen on the track.
Yeah, it's one of those tracks where a lot of drivers like a lot to race in. I love commentating it, but I don't like racing it at all because I'm usually not good at corners where it doesn't take that long for you to think about the braking points and stuff like that. So I can see why people love it to race in. I don't, but thankfully I'm in the commentary box, but I have a race here tonight, so I'm not looking forward to that. But as we said, just alluded to just now, full qualifying for the drivers, and the slowest three drivers in this instance will be, well, I think it's two now because there's quite a few drivers missing, and then obviously that will be eliminated from Q1. Then the slowest 5 drivers after that will be eliminated in Q2, and then it'll be the top 10 that get to qualify for the pole position shootout to decide who will be the top qualifier for this week's Austrian Grand Prix. So without further ado, let's get into the qualifying then. And it's quite overcast here in Austria, not as sunny as we were expecting, but we know it has a predicament of rain sometimes, but we see quite a few people going out nice and early just to get a feel for it. And I think we're seeing, I'm a bit shocked, there's less people going out on inters, and I do see a bit of spray on the track. It might be just my imagination. I thought more people would go on inters, but Obviously not. So do you think we could see some rain on the horizon?
It's definitely looking like it, isn't it, Jess? Those clouds are looking a little bit ominous coming over the track at the moment, so maybe it's almost like the reverse of what we'd normally expect. As you say, we'd expect cars to be going out on the inters just to get a feel of it and not burn up a set of tyres, but if they're expecting it to rain throughout this qualifying session, they're going to want to not be using those intermediate tyres up early. They want to save as many sets as they can to get as many hot runs in qualifying as they can, so maybe going out on the softs, that's the play, and maybe that's what we're seeing. There are still drivers out there I can see fitting the inters ready to go out. Milsom's put them on, and VK ZXtra has also put those intermediate tyres on, and VK is actually coming out of the pits on those intermediates as well at the moment. So it's a little bit of a mix, but for the majority, it is the soft tyres for the moment.
Yeah, it does look like it, doesn't it? Let's go on board with OG Livy as they make their way towards turn number 1 as well. The braking zone is quite tricky to spot if it's in the daytime when it's very sunny, but luckily it is overcast here in Spielberg, so it's a lot easier for the drivers to call this turn 3, but earlier on it's just a little kink of turn 2. I don't usually like to call it that, but blame MotoGP, not Formula 1 on that one, because MotoGP race there quite a lot. Heading past turn 3, heading towards turn 4, another DRS zone where we saw Alex Albon and Lewis Hamilton collide there. Sergio Perez and George Russell as well collide there as well. It seems to be a theme with Mercedes and Red Bulls collide with each other around turn 4. But luckily, Albon's not in the Red Bull anymore. But we've got OG Livy saying a 46.7 in the Haas at the moment as they make their way towards, well, he makes his way towards turn 7. And we already got one casualty from qualifying, so that means only one person will get eliminated now. Disqualified for blocking the pit lane, but we'll see what OG Libby can do with their time. A 107.6 for the Haas driver. And then we got, I believe, an Alpine who's about to start, was about to finish his lap. That's Mr. Ginge, who's now full-time in the Alpine. Well, he's about to start his lap. Anyone else who's about to finish? Not quite. So it's just a notorious fellow in OG Libby that's setting the benchmark at the moment. Everybody else, well, they're going to have to wait a while.
Yeah, so I'm not quite sure what was going on with the Ash there for the DSQ. As soon as it flashed up, I switched over to the Aston Martin to see what was going on. Just saw them pulling out of the pit lane across the grass at a 90-degree angle. Whether they sort of lost it and managed to Austin Powers themselves between the two barriers, I'm not quite sure. But very interesting and highly unfortunate as we're seeing a lot of traffic around turn 4 right now, which is sort of getting in Mr. Ginger's way a little bit on this lap. There's a Ferrari getting out of the way and a McLaren right in front as well. So perhaps just going to use time to charge the battery for the remainder of this lap. It's, well, saying that, the battery's still getting used, so maybe still going to go for it, even having had to slow through that middle sector. Weller now is out of the session as well. 108.1 on the board, and what has happened? Exit turn 1, yeah. So if we take a look, I'm going to take a look with Hun, who's just coming through there, see if I can see what's gone on.
Oh!
And that's quite far up the road, actually. So that looks like it's a lengthy crash has happened there, just seemingly on the outside of turn 1. Maybe got over the sausage curb and upset the car and couldn't quite catch it. And wound up in the wall, but either way, that is qualifying over for Weller, and a 108.1 is not a tremendously fast time either on the board. So
he's out anyway. He's out anyway because in real life, the game, pretty much in real life, it will take pretty much ages to repair your car to even make it for the race. So yeah, that is his qualifying done and dusting, which is a bit of a shame really, because he had a very good race last time out as well. The Alfa Romeo picking up some more points, but let's go on board with Hun right now as she makes her way towards the final corner, turn 9. She had a bit of a slide there. Hopefully she hasn't binned it. She just about avoids the wall for good measure, but she goes for a little bit of a spin, but she does have more time to go again if she wants to, but at least get a lap time on the board. I believe it was not an invalidation if she's got a lap time on the board anyway with a 118.3. As long as she makes her way into the pit, she should be fine. Has a 106.4 for Stephen right now in the Ferrari. Missed last week, but he's good to be back this week, helping his teammate Hannah out, who's in P4. KG Boy's back in P4 now as well, as one of our new drivers, Snakey, has come across the line with a 106.3, and I don't know what the cut-off point is around this track because we know Q1 is quite slow, but there's a lot of people in the 106s, 107 ranges, but I think it will be too early to tell as Babatunde comes across the line into P2, Paul.
Yeah, so there's a lot of times on the board that aren't really representative at the moment. You've got Milsom's gone out there on the intermediates and is just bombing some times in. VK had a moment earlier on. Mr. Ginge had that moment where he was, I don't want to say impeded, but he had some traffic on that lap. And Just Hun also obviously having that spin. So those times aren't really representative. We don't know what they can do on the board. I think OG Livy with the 107.6 will definitely need to get another time on the board. I think a high 106 to a low 107 might be around about the cutoff point. Maybe dropping down a little bit into the 106s if things start heating up a bit here. So if you are Babatunde, Snakey, Stephen even probably feeling pretty comfortable, they might go again just to feel that extra bit of comfort if they feel like they've got the tyres. But from Notorious Fella all the way back down, I think they're going to have to go again just to be safe and secure in this qualifying session. But there is still plenty of time left for that to happen, as that is... Ooh, that was close for Babatunde coming back into the pits. There's a very slow-moving car coming into the pits there, just having to work his way around there.
That was rough. That went a bit slow as well. But don't forget with DSQ from Yash, that is, I believe, 2 drivers will be knocked out of qualifying instead of 3. So that will be more of a chance for you to get into qualifying than not get into the next part of qualifying. But you still need to push anyway because you don't want to be sitting out for the rest of qualifying like Yashi is at the moment and Weller. So we'll see what KG Boy can do as he goes into the pits. Alex then, who is back this week in the Red Bull, we'll see what he can do heading towards turn 1. Of course, a lot of pressure for the Red Bulls this week as it is their home circuit. A lot of the Orange Papaya are out in force this week, cheering on for the Red Bull family, as it were, as well. 1 in P1 at the moment and 1 only down in P13. 1 on PlayStation, 1 on Xbox. So Alex then, he's backed off a little bit on his run. It looks like, yeah, he's backed off. Okay, so he may choose to back off a little bit. You never know, he may do like a 106 and prove me wrong. But we'll see F1 Nerd now as he goes towards past turn 7. As he clips that right-hand curb as well. As Josh is out of the session. And I believe... Was that the pit lane? I hope it was the pit... No, it's not the pit lane. It is hard to tell, but we'll go on board with F1 Nerd Lap at least.
It's not.
Exit final corner. And people got to avoid that as I was on board with Nerd as it happened. 107.0 for F1 Nerd. So now that is 3 drivers out of qualifying. And that will mean only 1 spot pretty much for elimination. That's it. So if you're near the front, you pretty much will be safe. But you never know with a track evolution. So that is Weller, Josh and Yash out of qualifying.
Yeah, so that's gonna... Ooh, that was a bit of a wobble there for OG Livy as well. That's gonna make it a little bit more comfortable for the drivers out there that haven't got that representative time yet, but they're definitely gonna want to not be that last spot, because that's probably gonna hurt a little bit more going into the race now. Is there's getting eliminated in Q1 and there's getting eliminated in Q1 when only 1 driver that sets times is going to be eliminated, and that's going to be painful. So that's going to be the motivation more than anything, I think, now for everybody to go out there and get a time on the board. Especially we've got this Mr. Ginge, Hun and Alex all having had moments on their laps but still managing to get the time on the board. And speaking of Hun, I believe she is just making her way around the final couple of corners now on a lap, and this one is looking pretty slow actually. So
she's about to start her next lap.
So she is, yeah. So it didn't tell me she was on an outlap, but clearly she was. She might
have aborted it and going again, which fair enough. You don't have enough tyres to last for the whole of qualifying, so you never know if she can go again. And it's a short lap anyway, so you can go on 1 or 2 laps on the soft tyre. That's KG Boy has done earlier on today, because he's been done 3 laps on that soft tyre. So maybe Hun is following KG Boy's lead at the moment as well. And we don't want both the Alpines to be out, as Mr. Ginge is about to, I think he invalidated his run. It's a kind of like invalidation centre, as it were, I think, around it, to be honest. I did a race on Thursday, and I think it was so hard not to avoid track limit penalties, as Finbot comes across the line with a 106.1. So getting close to the 105s, I think, we're alluding to at the moment. I think we'll definitely get into the 105s in the next part of qualifying, but we could see it heading in towards Q2 as well, as we do see the Red Bull moving out the way of Ruff, as Ruff really needs to get a move on right now. It's not invalidated, it's not red, so he just needs to get a lap in to make sure he is A-OK, as Hun came across the line in P6, so a decent lap time for her. But Ruff almost did the exact same thing to what Hun did earlier. But he's reversing across the line. He's going to get a lap in anyway, it looks like. Go on, put the car in the right direction, please. There you go. But it's going to be a 117.4 for him. He's a fast driver, so it's very weird seeing him up there. And again, you don't want to be the last driver to miss out on qualifying because of that. But he's lucky that Kenzie has not set a lap time yet. So he's got that saving grace, but you can't just rely on Kenty. You've got to get a lap no matter what, as everyone else got to dive it into the pits, it looks like. And so is Ginge as well. So 5 minutes left to go. I would say Ruff, Ginge, Alex, Kenzie, VK Extra, OG Livy. Anyone in the 107s, I think, 107s to 106.7s, I think, are in danger of getting eliminated. But if you're in the top 4, I would say you're definitely safe. Has someone binned it?
No, I've just checked something. I saw I donned my inspector's cap because of course I wasn't here last week. I saw in the live stream chat Kenzie Retro posting, "Do I need to retire without going onto the track?" And I thought that's a bit weird. Kenzie's not set a time yet. Kenzie received a qualifying ban for an incident last time out, so Kenzie will not be setting a time. So we will not be having any more eliminations in this qualifying session. Ruff, even with that 117, is going to be safe.
I hope the drivers remember what to do with that, as I think Finbot just realised that as well. So if you're watching in the chat, you're all safe if you haven't got a quali ban. So if you haven't retired and you haven't got a quali ban, just retire on the track. Otherwise, if you bin it, then that'll be your qualifying done and dusted, and that's what Finbot has done. Hopefully some other people will realise as well, but some people have not realised, and they may learn to regret it. So, guys, do an outlap, go into the pits, but I know some people would want to get a bit of glory and set into the 1 minute 5s, but I don't know. That explains it. I should have checked the stewards report, but I forgot to check the stewards report. But yes, Kennedy does have a qualifying ban, usually with qualifying bans, I'm not entirely sure of the rules of this league, but in all the leagues I'm in, you are allowed to set, and you are allowed to load your setup, go do an outlap, then go back into the pits again, because sometimes if you don't do an outlap, it doesn't save your setup. So, but I do not know the rules of this league, so we need to double check that. But I do believe usually doing your outlap is okay. But if Kendi just wants to stay in the pits, fair enough. But sorry that we forgot, and I think a lot of the drivers have forgot. That's probably why most drivers are in the pits right now. And if I were you, I would save a set of sauce for Q2.
Yeah, there's definitely changes things a little bit for those that have heard it in the live stream, or that have remembered from last week, because the pressure is absolutely off for this last 3 minutes now. There's no need to come back out, though I imagine some of them might do. Just to maybe tweak the setup just that last little bit in the areas that they are allowed to tweak it. Of course, with Parc Ferme being on, they don't have full control once they've come out, but they can change things like wing angles and such. So maybe we'll see a bit of that, just finalizing setups and looking after getting their eye in on the track a little bit more, because okay, it doesn't matter what time they set, but any time they do set and any time they do spend out on the track at this point, it's practice ahead of Q2 where it is going to matter. So perhaps that's what we're seeing Ruff do at the moment, out on another lap at the moment, down to a 108.1. Not tremendously fast, but still just
he's on controller
this Mercedes.
Week.
But yes, I was about to say, he is playing on controller this week, so the normally quick Ruff maybe playing with a bit of a handicap. I know when I come off a wheel and go to a controller, it's a very different thing. I know there are some drivers out there that are tremendously quick when they put a controller in their hands.
Louis Welsh.
Exactly, but there are. I know for when I do, I cannot do it anymore. There's a friend of mine that plays with a controller, and I always look at him and go, how? Because he keeps up with me when I'm on a wheel, and I don't know what sort of black
I'm
magic
like 7-8 seconds
uses.
slower on a pad. That is how slow I am on a pad. Like, I can't even control the car with a pad. That's why I stick to wheel. But yes, so I think we're just waiting for the last few drivers to go into the pit. I can tell Alex is on the pad as well on the Xbox as he makes his way towards turn number 4. But yeah, some people would want to do some laps right now to get a little bit of a feel for it, as Raf goes about 2 tenths quicker into the 107s. That is more like it. So some people are using it as a last minute practice before Q2, where it really does matter. Mr. Ginge is doing the right thing and going on a scrub set of tyres, because you don't want to be using new set of tyres for the final part of qualifying if you're safe. So Ginge is definitely doing something that I would do as well. Notorious fella in 5th position, but it's still Finbot that is in P1 at the moment, as Alex is going to drive it into the pits. Yes, he is as well. We have to keep an eye on the pit lane entry today as well, make sure they take that correctly and exit as well. So hopefully they won't cut it too much, because otherwise they'll gain an advantage and it'll be very, very weird, and they might get damaged because of it as well. But I think we'll just wait for the last few guys to go into the pits, and that'll be Q1 done. Probably the most anticlimactic Q1 we've ever seen this season, because it's already done and dusted with like 4 or 5 minutes to go. But I believe Kenji's going to go out and do their outlap and then make his way to the pits, and then that'll be their qualifying ban served. Kenji won't be last at least, because Yash got disqualified.
Yeah, so sharing the final row of the grid, but not in last, which is you take the little victories, don't you, in situations like that?
Yes.
As the checkered flag comes out, and there is only a couple of cars still out there at the moment. Kenzie's session is over. Just managing to lock that setup in. Ruff's out there on a lap at the moment. Notorious Fella also out there on a lap. So we'll see. I don't think we're going to see any improvements. Notorious Fella's 3.8 seconds down. Ruff is... Where is Ruff?
You never know.
Ruff's just getting some practice in, I think. Sort of almost equaling the best time so far. Less than a tenth slower. So it is good practice for Ruff at this stage, just to go around and get their iron on the controller.
Yeah, but again, I don't know why he's on a new set. I thought he would go on a scrub set like the likes of Ginge, but yeah, I'm not the one racing, he is. But we'll see what he could do. He just wants to have a little bit of confidence going into Q2 as Ruff goes across the line with a 107.6. So he found a lot of time in that final sector, which puts him into P10. So your 4 eliminated drivers out of qualifying. You're probably thinking, why 4? Because there was a few crashes in Q1, and if you crash in one stage of qualifying, that is you done, regardless if you have a faster time, which will make it through to Q2. So we will go through that in just a second as we wait for the results to show up. Come on, gamers, it's got a bit more sunnier now in terms of conditions, so that probably improved quite a few people's times. So Milsim, the highest in terms of times at the moment, with Snake in P2, Babatunde in 3rd, and then we go all the way down to Ginge, who have made it through to the next part of qualifying. But your eliminators are Weller, who crashed out, Banana Josh, who crashed out, Yash, who got disqualified for blocking the pit lane, and Kendi, who has got a qualifying ban for today's race. So they'll be starting near the back of the grid. But you got to watch out for Ginge, Alex, VK Extra, GDV. I think those are the guys that will really need to step it up if they want to make it to the next part of qualifying for Q3.
Yeah, absolutely. It's worth noting as well, it's just been posted in the chat. This is actually Alex's first Q2 appearance. So taking strides here around the Red Bull ring, and we'll see, is Alex going to be able to find a little bit more time and maybe make it a first Q3 appearance as well. Maybe. Time will tell. With 15 minutes, the clock is ticking down on Q2, and we are going to lose 4 more drivers in this next session. But who are those 4 going to be? We saw drivers out of position in Q1, so I'm expecting to see the grid get a little bit more competitive this time. The times get a little bit closer together.
Yeah, very, very exciting indeed. There's a lot of cars are going out on circuit. We have a Haas car that is going out, which I believe... I'm trying to find out who that Haas car is. OG Libby, there we go. OG Libby is going out on the circuit, and I believe he will be the first driver out, as well as an AlphaTauri and a Red Bull. So those are the 3 drivers that are going to be going out on circuit first. One driver is on the wets right now, which is rough. Not really that surprising, to be honest. He doesn't really want to be using a set soft, but if you crash on the wet, then it's going to be a little bit embarrassing, to tell you the truth as well. So as we were saying earlier, bottom 4 will get eliminated from Q2, and that will lead the fastest 10 drivers to battle it out for pole position for today's Austrian Grand Prix. And don't forget, simulation damage is on, which spices things up a lot, because I like simulation damage around Austria, because it endorses people just to work a little bit harder to make it through as well. And pretty much most people on laps at the moment, but we will follow OG Libby as they will be the first person to go out. But what would you say are the trickiest parts of this circuit? Because most of it can be taken at full throttle, but just because it can, that doesn't mean it's easy, is it?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, that middle sector is deceptively tricky, especially coming around through like turn 7, turn 8, coming off the back of turn 6. So you're down a couple of gears through 6. On the power through 7, it's just like the lightest little stab of the brakes into turn 7 to just scrub off enough speed. But it's really tricky to judge exactly how much of a stab at the brakes you need to take, and then get the turn in right as well, because then as soon as you turned in, pretty much you can be back on the power and carry that speed back through 8. And if you get it right, it feels incredible to actually string it all together, and it will get you round there very, very quickly. But if you get it wrong, you're going to be losing time hand over fist. If you're going too slowly, if you get on the power too early and the back end tries to step out, it's very, very tricky.
Yep, it is, but some people nail it just right. But I have to agree, the middle sector is the hardest part of the lap as well, especially through turns 6 and 7. I can't seem to nail it at all around Austria, which is probably why I'm slow around Austria compared to my friends who play the game as well, because they can set 105, 104 cheeky buggers, whereas I can only set 105, 106 potentially, as well as Alex sets the first time on the ball with a 107.6. What does OG Livy do? 107.0. Then we got an Aston Martin up to the line. Can they go any quicker? Nope. Notorious fella has unfortunately invalidated their run. We've got an AlphaTauri that's slowing down, who's going into the pits. That explains why. KG Boy's about to start his run. We've got Babatunde, who's, wow, 105.6. The first man into the 105.6s, well, 105s at all, and by about 4 tenths. So definitely the fastest time we've seen today here in Spielberg. And we've got Ginger's teammate just home, was on a lap, but she has aborted. But what about Ginge? Is he going to go into the pits, or is he going to go and finish off his lap? He's going to finish his lap. Oh, he invalidated turn 9. Tut, Ginge. You need to do better, mate, as he's down in 14th at the moment. Anyone else on runs? I don't think so, apart from KG Boy, who's going through the tricky turn 6 and 7 now. And he seems to do that very nicely. He's waiting to the left a little bit. He was almost spinning there, but I think he just saved that just in time, because if he clicked the curb a bit more, he would have gone for a spin. But that was very close. That's how far you can go on the curb without spinning in Austria. As KG Boy up to the line, what can he do? 106.7 for the Mercedes driver.
Yeah, just behind the time that was set by Hannah in the Ferrari a few moments ago as well. She came in and popped it up into provisional P2 for the time being with a 106.658. So the fastest non-105 coming through so far, but Babatunde definitely showing some intent at the start of Q2, coming straight out of the gate with that time. And I know that is going to be the goal for so many of these drivers around here, is to get into the 105s. And I think a low 106, 105 might just be around about the cut-off time for this one. I'm expecting it to be fairly close, but we'll have to wait and see if I'm right on that one. So anywhere from a 106.23 backwards, I think is going to be that sort of danger territory in this session. But all it takes is one mistake, and that could completely change the entire outlook of the session. I know from watching Hun's stream before this race started, she was almost adamant while putting some time trial laps in that a 105 was on the cards in that Alpine. So I'm expecting that in this session. No pressure. Indeed, he has. Ruff has gone around through, as we were saying, the tricky part of the section of the track, turn 6 and 7.
There you go. So Ruff doesn't want me to go on board with him when he's in the middle of a corner, but it's hard to tell when you're in the middle of a corner, Ruff. It's impossible. So I always just go on board with someone and just see what happens. But anyway, Finbot is going to be going on the run. He was topping the last session, so he wants to top this session as well. So he's hoping to also get into the 105. Snake, I think, can get in the 105s as well as Ruff with his spin hat on, 125.8. So, again, a lot of work to do, but again, he's on the pad. VK Extra in 11th place, who has got a lot of work to do, but has been improving as the league goes on as well in that AlphaTauri, as they make their way towards turn 8. As yellow flag set to 1, I think that's people moving out of the way. Yes, it is. That's probably Ginge, I think. No, it's not Ginge, it's Hun, who I think went a bit slow. So I think she might have lost a little bit in turn 1, but I'll double check that in just a moment. VK though, up to the line, P6 for him. And we got Snake, who's going through turn 6 and 7 now. And doesn't use much curb compared to other drivers for the left-hand curb, but he uses a lot of the right-hand curb. He takes it a similar line to what I do as well. Doesn't want to take it too aggressive, which is fair enough. Milson comes across the line with a 106.1. What can Snake do? Can he get into the 105 just like Babatunde? The answer to that is no, but he just beat Finbot with a 106.1.
Yeah, so the times are starting to come down. We've got multiple drivers getting closer and closer to that 105 marker now. And I'm wondering what Stephen's going to be able to put in on this lap as well. Obviously quite high up in the previous qualifying session. So expecting the same again. Will Stephen be able to challenge the likes of the time set by Babatunde and Snake at the moment? We'll have to wait and see coming around the final sector now down the hill towards Rint, or turn 9. And then it's just a single corner to go. Turn number 10. And this is another tricky corner, it has to be said, to get absolutely right. Still a bit of space on the table there, but it's good enough for P4 at the moment. 106.282. It's a little bit of a gap back from Stephen to his teammate at the moment. Hannah's 106.6. He's currently sitting in P5, and that 4/10 gap is about the biggest gap that we have out there at the moment, if you excuse the gap back to Ruff on the pad at the moment, with the 115 coming through. But if last session's anything to go by, Ruff is definitely not out of this. Just get more and more laps in, more and more practice, and eventually it's going to come good.
We have seen people that put last lap showdowns, I think, in Q2 quite a lot of the time in this league and still manage to get through to Q3. So, yes, I have to agree with you. Don't rule out Ruff just because he's sitting in 11th spot and he just improved to a 1:10.1 with his lap there as well. So, much better from Ruff, but you could go at least about 3 or 4 seconds quicker. But Notorious fella, he's yet to set a lap time yet, but what can he do? 1:06.8, but that was invalid once again. So he needs to step it up as well. F1 Nerd going through the middle sector. And if the game is not telling me porcupine, he's purple sector 2. But sometimes purple sector 2 on the mini-map means nothing, because sometimes the game tells me I get purple sector 2, but I'm off it by like 4 or 5 attempts. There's F1 Nerd up to the line. 1:06.5. That is a decent lap time for the McLaren driver, who's pulled off some stellar performances the last couple of weeks. We saw one driver going out of the pit lane. And will Ruff go again and finish off his lap? Oh, he's going to hate me now because I went on board with him in a corner. Sorry, Ruff, but I didn't know. Ruff up to the line, 1:08.2.
Yeah, so that lap time is coming down relatively quickly. We've got 5 minutes of the session left, and in the last 2 laps, Ruff has shaved off 7 seconds. So I'm not expecting another 7 seconds to get shaved off in the next 2 laps. That would be incredibly impressive if he could go out and pull out a 101. But there's definitely showing that he's starting to feel a bit more at home with the pad on now, as I believe the next driver that's going to be going out on a fresh set of tyres for a lap is going to be Hun, who still hasn't set a time as Milson retires from the session, happy enough with a 106.1.
That should be
and,
safe.
Hun's got a Red Bull for company going in towards turn 3. I think the 106.1 should be safe. As you say, Stephen maybe probably is going to be safe as well. I think anybody around that... I was guessing around about the 106.2s, 106.3s, sort of the low 106s or even high 105s, but perhaps not quite there yet. The track evolution not quite coming as quick as I was expecting it to, and maybe that's catching a few of the drivers out as well, and trying to set times on the board, not finding the grip they're expecting to, as Hun making her way around turn number 8 and down towards turn number 9. A couple of corners to go to get at least a lap on the board. I don't think it's going to be overly quick, this one. We're already past a minute going around the final corner, but a lap on the board nonetheless. It's a 106.8, so it's
pretty much
quicker than I was actually
last time.
expecting. And so, yeah, about the same as the Q1 time, but still time to go again if she wishes to, just to recharge that battery and get another lap in, as she now moves nicely out of the way of, I believe that's Alex, making her way towards turn 3. And it's a first Q2 appearance, and touch wood, at the moment, it's looking like it could be a first Q3 appearance as well.
Yes, but we're waiting on, obviously, VK extra fella, Mr. Ginge as well. We know Ruff could be very quick as well, so maybe Ruff could spoil the party for Alex, but we all like to see an underdog do well and make it into their first Q3 session, because that's always everybody's dream if you're, like, near the bat in terms of pace to absolutely... do that and do that well. So Alex has still got quite a bit of time to find in that Red Bull car. So we'll see if he can improve even more, as he probably is going to go into the pits, it looks like, because he doesn't have enough deployment on the battery. Or he's going to go again. He's going to go again. So that will probably be his qualifying done then, but we'll see what he can do. He doesn't improve. He does not improve, and I don't think he's going to have time to go again. So he's going to hope that the guys below him do not improve.
Yeah, and of those below, there's a few quick drivers in there as well. Obviously, as you were saying, Ruff's very quick. Mr. Ginge, who's currently heading in through the final couple of corners now. The back end's gone around though, and
he's hit the wall. He's out.
That's a way of doing something quick, but it's not lapping the Red Bull ring. That's a way of going home quicker. So Mr. Ginge is out of qualifying. I don't want to take credit for that one. I totally wasn't.
At least I didn't curse someone this time.
No, it was me instead. Same part of the track now. VK Extra making her way through. This time staying on the road with all 4 of the wheels, and only made like minorly improvement. It was an improvement, but not a huge one. So for the moment, Alex is still safe. But yeah. Ruff is out on a lap now as well.
Ruff has got to find 5 temps on this lap to make it through. If he does that, he's in. Notorious fella won't have enough time to go again, so he's out. VK Extra, we'll see if he can improve as well. He's 1.3 seconds off, and he's running out of fuel. So, Hunted looks like is making the way into Q3, but who will be joining her? And the likes of Babatunde, Snake. I think we may have a timing glitch because we see people on outlap, so that's weird. So they may have more time than intended, so may need to go again just to be sure that they're safe. So Ruff's going slowly. 108.2.
He went very wide at turn 1, but he should still make... In fact, no, he's not going to have time. He stopped, and that's... No, he's not going to have time, surely, now to make his way around to start another lap.
So could it be Alex in his first Q3 appearance, unless the timings are glitching itself? I don't know. I really don't know at this stage, but we will see. There are quite a few people managing to get through. I don't think Ruff's going to make it, but he's going to try at least anyway. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it looks like Ruff it's not going to make it to Q3 for the first time in FHK, which is a shame. So I think all it is always just is left is Notorious Fella and VK Extra, see if they can improve. VK Extra's only 2 attempts down, but we'll see if he can find some time in that final sector then as well, as Hun's backed off as well. Quite a few people are backing off knowing that they're probably most likely going to be safe, but you never know, anything can happen in Formula 1, and it usually does. VK Extra was 4 attempts down in that middle sector, so he's lost another 2 attempts. So unless he can find time in that final sector, that will be a Q2 exit for him, and it is a Q2 exit for him. He is out. So will it be Alex or Notorious Fella who'll make their way into Q3? It'll be a big shot, by the way, if Fella makes it doesn't make it through, because he made it through quite comfortably in the last session. So we'll see.
Fella's gonna do it.
Is he gonna do it? I think he's gonna be very comfortable. 106.4, and that pushes Alex out of Q2 and Fella safely through to Q3. But a big congratulations as well. So the 4 drivers eliminated will be Alex, VK Extra, Ginge and Ruff. Babatunde is your fastest driver at the moment. The only driver in the 105.6, and in second place we've got Hannah in P2. I think this is the first time I've seen Hannah in the top 2 in the qualifying session before. Maybe she just likes this track.
Yeah, she's definitely putting in really solid, consistent lap times at the moment. So close to that 105 as well. Right at the start of Q2, Hannah put in a time that was immediately P2. Then as the track evolved, sort of dropped back down a bit, came back out and retook that second position away. So definitely putting herself in a good spot for the race to follow at the moment. But of course, we've still got another qualifying session to go. She needs to go out there and get that time back on the board. Can she get a 105, and can anybody else get a 105? Babatunde, the only one with a 105 so far, and comfortably through that session, along with Hannah, Snaky, Milsome, OG Livy, Stephen, Notorious Fella, KG Boy, F1 Nerd, and Hun scraping through by the skin of her teeth as well. Alex so close to that first Q3 appearance, but still a very impressive 11th place in a first Q2 appearance. VK Extra also out with Mr. Ginge, and Ruff also dropping out in Q2. Ruff, of course, on the pad, not quite able to get up to pace quick enough for that one, but we know Ruff is quick. Can Ruff climb through from P14 to a good finishing position later on? That is going to be one to watch as well, Jess.
Yeah, I think Hannah is in disbelief that she's in second. I think she just put in one of the chats saying, "How am I second? How am I second?" Well, there's quite a few people who are saying that you're quick around Austria, and sometimes it takes a track for you to do really well. You may have a track that you're really, really good at, and you may not be good at other tracks. So, and I think I could tell she has put in a lot of practice, I think, around this track, but you never know. But she's through to Q3 at least, so that's good. And I'm going to see which teammates have both of their cars into Q3. Well, we have both the McLarens, both the Ferraris, and I think that's it. Yeah, that's it then. Both McLarens and both Ferraris. We have one Alpine, one AlphaTauri, one Haas, one Mercedes, and one Red Bull, and one Aston Martin. And then obviously the rest are by McLaren and Ferrari anyway. So I usually come into Q3 knowing who I think is going to get pole position. But I think for the first time this season, I don't have a clue.
Yeah, it's going to be tight, I think. Babatunde's coming in with the momentum from that Q2 performance, being the only driver into the 105s, but Hannah's close. There's a lot of drivers also edging towards, Finbot as well, also could be a threat to that pole position, so it's gonna be tight, I think, in this session. As once again, OG Livy's going to be the first one out there on track in the Haas for the session to get a lap time on the board. But of course, Q3 now, not as much time left over as there would be in other sessions. So we'll probably get 1 or 2 laps, come in, refuel, I was going to say re-wheel then. Change the tyres is the actual phrase that would work. And get back out there on the track for the final run. So it's a do or die kind of a session. And who's going to be who's going to do it? Who's going to die, I guess. Hopefully nobody. We've seen enough cars falling off the road in Q1. So Q3, we see everybody around safely and very quickly.
And the question is, will we see a surprise pole position? We saw a decent pole position from quite a lot of the guys in Miami that put us with an incomplete shot, but I wasn't surprised for them to get pole position. But could we see a new pole position potentially? Because obviously we got no rough. Well, Babatunde, I believe, has not got a pole position yet. Finbot was close before as well, so we will also see, I think, a new pole position as well. Obviously, F1 Nerd came very close to getting his first win, but it got taken off him due to a safety car infringement in Monza. But him showing the pace today, I think he could be up there as well. It is, I have to say, very, very close. I think we could see a shocker in Q3. But if I have to put my money on it, they're going to hate me for it. But I think it's either going to be Babatunde or Finbot. I think Finbot was doing a little bit of sandbagging, I think, in Q2, because I know what he's capable of, and I know he can go quicker. He has won some races in Austria in the past on many games. And I'm shocked that he was not topping the last session. I thought he'd be a Babatunde P1, Finbot P2, but obviously not. So he's still got time to find, of course, as OG Libby sets the first time on the board with a 107.0. We've got KG Boy, who's done a 106.7. That's a decent lap time for him. We've got Hannah, who's about to start her run. And, oh, that's more like it from her, 106.4. And Babatunde, 105.2. So that was a very, very competitive lap time for Babatunde. And that's going to be hard for quite a lot of people to beat that. I can't even beat that. I think the highest I can get in a qualifying like this is a 106.2 or 106.1. So that is good for Babatunde, I have to say. It's going to be hard for anyone to beat that. But I think Finn could beat it as long as he takes the sandbags out.
Yeah, that's a mighty time for Babatunde. I have to imagine the emotion that just happened as Hun crossed the line and it popped up saying P1 and then immediately went away. That is the worst feeling when it shows up saying, yes, you're the quickest driver. Oh no, you're not anymore. That's not a good feeling. But it's a good lap. A 106.4 is definitely more what we'd come to expect from our league admin, and indeed she's very, very tight on time with F1 Nerd and Snakey at the moment, all right up the top end of the grid. Hannah's first lap not as quick as we saw in Q2,
might have been a scrub set
another
though.
solid lap as well. It could have been a scrub set of tyres, you are absolutely right, Jess, but everybody is very, very close at the minute. Okay, you got the 105.2 coming in from Babatunde, which is kind of otherworldly compared to the rest of the times we've seen so far across all qualifying sessions. Then you got 106.4, 106.4, 106.4, 106.5, 106.5, 106.5. It's so close. Any tiny improvement is going to gain you a handful of grid positions.
And that's why I like Austria, because you gain so much time. Apart from Babatunde, everybody else, I think, has a decent chance of getting close maybe to a podium as well. And it's getting quite dark as well, so it won't be that long before I think people will go on a lap as well. So Babatunde fastest, and we've got F1 Nerd, Snakey, Hun in fourth position as well. But, oh, KG Boy! Jesus Christ, that was very, very close. Luckily the game saved it. Now we got, I think, everybody that's making their way into the pits now. It's going to be, I think, a quiet moment in qualifying, unless we got a Haas. I think OG Libby's going to be the first one out. Nope, it's not OG Libby, it's Finbot. He's going to get some clear air in front of him, which is, I think, more than ideal for him. He's yet to set a lap time, same with Steven as well. So those two will need to get a move on, but surely they're probably happy to make it through to Q3. But I want to see Finbot getting on top of near the top as well, because Finbot now is a reserve in this tier and is now full-time in tier 1, and I think we're seeing a rivalry between Finbot and Babatunde really start to show, I think, at the moment. He's probably gutted that he's not quicker than Babatunde, but there's still 6 minutes left to go. There's still time to be found. OG Libby's out, so is Fella, then F1 Nerd as well. There's a lot of people still in the pits, but the track is cooler though. Will that make a difference in lap times? We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, that's it. The clouds have come in. The track temperature's going to go down, and that could mean that improvements are going to be that little bit harder to find, especially on outlaps now. It's going to be absolutely vital to get the tyre warm up right, make sure you can get the heat through the wheels in all the right places. As right now, Finbot starts this lap through turn 1. No time on the board, so any time is going to be better than anything else. On this lap, we've got yellow flags for Finbot's teammate F1 Nerd, currently just getting out of the way of OG Livy, I believe, who's on a lap as well. OG Livy making a way around to, in fact, it's starting a lap. Yeah, his way to start a lap as well. It didn't say out lap, but it definitely was an out lap because Finbot was the first one to come out, and Finbot is only just going through the middle sector at the moment. So what sort of a time is Finbot going to put out? Is it going to rival the 105.2 from Babatunde at the moment? That is looking like a nearly unbeatable time, but you have to say, if anybody is going to be able to beat it, Finn is going to be the one that can do it. It showed purple in the middle sector, and unless, like earlier, it may have been telling me Porky Pies, it's a very quick middle sector indeed. A very good final corner as well across the line for Finn, and it is P2. 106.0.
So close.
8 tenths. 8 tenths still to find to try and pip that time that Babatunde set out.
He was so close to the 105 though, as Fella pips it with a 106.045 then as well. We'll see, I think, F1 Nerd, Finbot's teammates going towards the line now. Surely Finbot does not want to be beaten by his teammate for today's race. So he comes up to the line and 106.2. So I think he gets the luxury of still being the quickest McLaren out there at the moment, as Hannah is about to start her run on a fresh set of the soft tyres. Stephen, her teammate, he's going to come across the line. He's 10th at the moment, but what can that time be? Can he get into the 105? Yes, he can. 105.657. That's what I'm talking about for him. This is looking so good. The man who's been very unlucky the last couple of races wants to show his footing in the team, does not want to be beaten by his teammate, of course, and still in P2 with a very, very competitive lap time, which may even be hard to beat for some of the guys from P3 downwards, but you never know, anything can happen in Formula 1, and it usually does. We have got, I think, OG Livy, who might come into the pit, actually. Nope, he is going to finish his run. As he got a bit of squirmy going through the final corner, and it is going to be a 106.4 for him. Then we got, I believe, F1 Nerd going again, but he's 2 seconds down. That's a 110.5. Then it will be Hannah, who's going towards the final corner. She was only a few 100ths up, so it may not be a massive improvement, but any improvement is better than no improvement, and she's currently in 10th position, but will she have enough time to go again? We'll have to wait and see on that one, as OG Libby's gone for a bit of a spin in turn 3.
Yeah, the reason why Hannah is now P10 and not P9 as she was when she crossed the line is KG Boy came across the line immediately afterwards with a 105.9. 3 drivers now have broken that barrier and are trying to reel in that 105.2 that Babatunde has set. Nobody's quite done it yet, but we're getting closer. We're getting closer. Even with a cooler track, the way the track has rubbered in now, more and more are able to get those times on the board. I'm assuming Hannah will try and go again. We saw from Q2 that she's capable of getting close to that 105 barrier. So perhaps she'll be able to get another time in as well and move further up the order. As
she doesn't have enough time now to get out of the pits, to get into the pits though.
That's true. So she is coming into the pits now. So that could be qualifying over at the moment. I just want to clarify whether I saw something. That's what I wanted to clarify if I saw it. As I switched on board with Hannah coming into the pits, I'm sure I saw a few drops of rain, and indeed I did. Not just a few drops, quite a lot of drops of rain in the area. That's why people have gone early for laps then. So it looks like Babatunde is going to be on pole for today's Austrian Grand Prix, because I don't think anyone's going to improve. Now that has thrown a spanner in the works for people that are planning to go again, including Finbot. So he's not going to get into the one. No, he's not going to get into the 105s like that. Wait, how was that not invalid? Game? That was not invalid. What the hell? He went off the track in turn 1. But he probably lost it. Yeah, he lost a bit of time in the process anyway. It is getting quite damp. So, yeah, unfortunate for him, but good for Babatunde. Stephen P2 and KG Boy, your top 3.
the top, well, Stephen separated by a few tenths to KG Boy. Then we got a really close gap between Notorious Fella, Milsim, F1 Nerd, OG Libby, Snake, Just Hun, and Hannah. So they're all quietly bunched together. I think we're going to be in for a very intense race. And I don't think oh, he's not going to improve now. He's just spun. There we go.
Yeah, that's gonna happen eventually with the rain falling more and more, isn't it? On the soft tyres, they're just gonna turn into an ice rink to drive on as the checkered flag comes out, and that is going to be the confirmed qualifying order as we expected then. But rain now, will that rain continue for the race? I've seen it a lot with the way the conditions can change, or they can stay the same. So we could be in for a wet start, as by the looks of things, there is a Ferrari coming back out on track. I'm not quite sure how that's happening with the checkered flag having already come out, but...
I think she was about to go on a run, but then realised the time was going out or something. I don't know. That's weird. Probably the weirdest thing I've ever seen, but there we go. But... I can't call who I think is going to win the race now. It has been known Austria to have some safety cars that can change things quite a bit. Turn 1 can get very risky as well. As I always get scared turn 1 Austria when I do a race, because I always seem to be the one that bins it. But we've got Babatunde that's on pole for today's Austrian Grand Prix at FHK League. Stephen in P2, KG Boy 3rd, Notorious Fella 4th, Milson 5th, F1 Nerd 6th, OG Libby 7th, Snake 8th, Just Turn in 9th, and Hannah is 10th then for the top 10 qualifiers into Q3. And we're about to get started with the race, and we're not sure what the weather's going to be. Hopefully it's going to be a dry start. If it's going to be a dry session, it's either going to be hards to mediums or mediums to hards. I think most people would want to start with the hards, because I did a race on the hard tyres and I was able to get through, and I think I did about 22, 23 laps, and they felt pretty good for a lot of the race. The only issue I had was I had a lot of underbody damage, which probably costed me a lot of time. But without that, the hards are a pretty good race tyre around here. It takes a lot of time to obviously warm up, but, you know, we could see a lot of people starting on hards, but knowing us, they probably may go against Starwell and go on the mediums. But it's either going to be a medium or hard start. But if there may be rain at the end of the race, as some people are predicting, could we see probably some people starting on softs? We don't know. We'll have to wait and see as we head into the session. We have a minute of breathing space whilst the drivers get their strategies and wait for the tier coordinators to ready up. But it is a dry start to the race at least, so that's good news for both of us.
Yeah, so...
someone's readied up too early.
The weather not continuing. The race, yeah, it's going to be starting very, very quickly. 20 seconds is on the timer, so somebody may have readied up early, as you say, and triggered that start up, so everybody will be very quickly sorting out race strategy. I wonder if we're going to see those softs, as you say. Even if it's not going to rain later on in the race, maybe we might see if there's drivers out of position, for example, starting on the softs and just trying to just put their foot down and go for it. Especially further back on the grid. Don't forget we've had a couple of drivers with qualifying, drive with qualifying ban and so on. We've got the formation lap starting right now, and the full grid there, as you can see. It did show the setup as well, the predicted strategy as well, and we do have a driver on the soft tyres, as I was just saying. Ruff is starting on the soft tyres from P14.
I think he did that, I think, in Miami and in Monza, as Babatunde, our pole sitter, has gone into a spin. Let's hope he doesn't do that when it comes to the actual race, because otherwise that will be his race over. Babatunde, get the car. There you go. I think the game resets track on that one, but he's at the back anyway. That is a shame at the moment, but mediums are the preferred tyres, so yes, they have gone against my predictions. I thought most people would be starting on hards, but no, people will be starting on the mediums, except Ruff, and Kenzie and Yash. We've got disqualifications already for people hitting each other in the formation lap. That is not good, lads. You don't want to be hitting each other. And don't forget, this is on immersive formation lap, so they have to make sure they get the car into their grid space, which for the start of the game cycle, I was alright. I was consistently in purples, but as I began to do more races, I tend to be a lot worse, and I missed it sometimes, but there we go. That is the case sometimes. But we'll just wait for the last few cars to go on to the grid. It'll be a while because Kenzie's binned it as well. But it is tough on who's going to win, but we're just going to have to wait and see. I'm not going to predict this one. It's going to be very close.
Yeah, and I think you're right. It's going to be very close. I'm very interested to see how well Babatunde does with the gridding up procedure, because as you say, they're going to drive into their grid boxes. Normally, if you're on pole position, you've got nobody in the way to try and pick your marker. But Babatunde is going to have to drive around the entire grid in order to find that grid box. Which there he is coming through, just driving through them, weaving. But is he going to be able to line it up on the spot? Yes, he is.
Yes.
And that's a very, very aggressive angle that he's picked as well.
That is quite aggressive, but we'll see if that's paid off. The 5 red lights are on here in Spielberg for the Austria Grand Prix. Round 4 of the FHK League is a go, and it's a good start from Babatunde. Also good start from Stephen as they make their way towards turn 1. But we'll see the McLaren try to make their way past Stephen, which he does. Finbot has got a very good getaway, but he's one ride already in turn 1. Front wing damage from quite a few drivers in the background. Hannah's gone off, so is Ruff. Kenzie, VK Extra's lost a bit of his rear ring already, which is not ideal. We've got a few front wings lying about as well. We've got F1 Nerd getting past Steven, so Steven not having the best of getaways as he tries to get past F1 Nerd once again. As OG Libby's had a good start as well. He's going side by side with Notorious Fella down the inside, up to 6th place on the road. F1 Nerd gets past Steven, up to P4. Ruff gets past Yash, up to P12. So quite a few people will probably go in to the pits, maybe for a set of the hard compounded tyres until potentially towards that 26, and then they'll probably go on to soft tyres as we'll see quite a few drivers go into the pits, unfortunately. But I only saw the aftermath of that, but quite a few people did not take it cautiously through lap 1 and got involved in the pile-up.
Yeah, so turn 1, lap 1 strikes again. This time taking out a good handful of front wings. A very expensive lap 1, it has to be said, as Yash has come into the pits at the moment. Hannah's in as well. Weller's in.
Oh, no, Weller's not in. Sorry.
No, Weller's not in. Correct. Yeah, it is. VK is coming in along with Yash and Hannah. I know Hannah has front wing damage for definite. I saw that much, missing an end plate on that Ferrari, being involved in the incident earlier on. I'm just trying to see. Yash definitely had some damage as well, as I believe did VK Extra. So all 3 of those cars coming in for a new front wing, and we'll be back out. Hannah's gone on the soft, so clearly trying to make up some time. Yash come back out on the mediums, and as you were predicting, Jess, VK's come back out on the hard tyres. So all 3 of those drivers who made a lap 1 pit stop coming out on a different strategy. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out as OG Livy has gone off. Yeah, OG Livy's gone off through the mid-sector. That's having come out of turn number 6. Trying to get that horse back on the road as well. Just can't get it round in the right sort of an angle. Hemorrhaging positions, it has to be said. As now Babatunde and Finbot trading fastest laps of the race.
There you go. So Finbot showing that he had the pace. He's already made up quite a few positions. So is KG Boy as well. We're already on lap 3 DRS enabled then. As we already got our first retirement. VK Extra is out of today's race, and that has brought out I think is it a VSC? Yeah, it's a VSC, because I don't see a yellow dot anywhere.
It is VSC, yeah.
Yeah, VSC, I see it on the board as well. But sometimes it can change very quickly to a full course yellow, but it's not a full course yellow, so they will have to keep it down to just a little bit. Some people, if they want to, may want to go on a set of hards, but it will probably potentially be early. The potential earliness for a pit stop to go to the end will be around lap 8, but a more ideal time to go into the pits for a pit stop, if you're on the mediums, will be about lap 10, lap 11. So that will be, I think, not ideal if you want to go into the pits now. It's ideal if you're doing a 2-stop race and you started on softs maybe or mediums. You could go on to a hard compounded tyres and to get your one of your stops out the way. But the VSC is going around for a very long time, but we got to be careful people do not get any drive-throughs. And I just said that Steven's got a drive-through. OG Libby has got a drive-through, so they'll have to serve it within 3 laps with F1 Nerd. Tries to get past KG Boy, but to no avail at this moment in time. He's used quite a lot of ERS, and I thought he would have used that VSC to save a bit of ERS, but he decided not to. Probably a huge regret right now as Ginge gets past Weller. It looks like they're having a ding-dong battle, but F1 Nerd having to stay behind KG Boy, but he's going to get the DRS. There's going to be a lot of DRS trains at the moment as Alex and Josh are having a scrap as well as Alex goes off the circuit. Josh, I think, has had a really cracking start. Don't forget he got knocked out of Q1 and he's already up to 9th already. Make that 8th if he makes this move stick. Heading towards turn 4. To the right-hand side he goes. We got the Red Bull right in the middle of that as well of Alex. And Ruff coming out of nowhere as well to get the both of them up to 8th place. So Ruff on no soft, showing what he's made of and making up positions early doors, even though he didn't have the qualifying he was looking for. But Josh does get past Alex up to 9th. OG Livy gets past Hannah up to 16th place. No other moves at this moment in time. Steven is going to serve his drive-through, get it out the way. I believe OG Livy, that's what he did earlier on, to serve his drive-through. But more positions still to be found, and it's still early doors, and still the top 3 remaining as they are.
Yeah, Ruff is on an absolute charge, though, on those soft tyres. We sort of predicted it as Mr. Ginge comes into the pits and promptly gets a penalty for it as well. There is a battle for the lead, and Babatunde having to go defensive through turn 3, and now Finbot right on the rear of that AlphaTauri, diving up towards the inside, down towards turn 4, and surely on the brakes is going to have this position, just squeezing Babatunde out wide, and away Finn goes into the lead. Though it has to be said, Babatunde, in terms of the resource management of this early phase of the race, has got a little bit of an advantage. 20% extra battery in that AlphaTauri, but is he going to use it to try and stay with Finbot for the time being? As that gap did look like it was going to extend to the middle sector, but now closes back up again. But this could be a blessing in disguise for Babatunde now, with a car ahead, can just chill out and save some of that battery, use the DRS to stay in touch, look after the tyres, and use the battery in the final phase of the race, as we see so often in this game these days. But Yash has spun, and Ruff is saying the fastest lap of the race.
Yash, unfortunately, is a lap down now as F1 Nerd gets past KG Boy up to P3. And yeah, Ruff with the softs, it is to be expected, but expect the soft tyres, I think, to pretty much die very, very soon. And then he'll probably go into the pits race. And he's got the fish helmet as well. Some people like it, some people hate it. I love it because I like fish.
Oh, Babatunde back up the inside of turn 4 on Finn. It was a switchback move, and Finn just about managed to hold on to the lead from that one, but it was very, very close from Babatunde. Really wanted to try and get through there. There was a bit of weaving going down the straight, but for the time being, Babatunde still sitting behind Finn, but definitely wanting that lead back.
He definitely does, doesn't he? I think this is a rivalry that we've been wanting for so long. Even Hun's chat was hyping about it earlier on as well, and I think this is coming to fruition at the moment. So Finn, the fastest driver at the moment, but Babatunde really wants to show his mettle as well. So a yellow flag once again, and that is Yash, I think, as well. But Snake tries to go down the inside of KG Boy, which he does, up to 4th place. More time penalties are starting to come into fruition with the drivers. Alex picking up one right now, but we'll see if KG Boy can fight back on the Red Bull right now as well. I won't be surprised if Yash calls it a day, because he's already a lap down on most of his competitors, to be honest, which is not ideal. It's not going to be that long before Hannah laps him. Babatunde for the lead again, and he does it. He does Daniel Ricciardo send, but Mills is going to get the switch back into turns 5 and 6. They're still going to go side by side into that tricky middle sector. This could be a recipe for disaster, but it's not a recipe for disaster at the moment. Has head towards turn 7, still going side by side, these two. This is incredible racing between the pair of them as well, and this is why FHK League is so great. Again, as they head towards down turn 9, again, still side by side as they head towards turn 10 now, as Babatunde gets the advantage for now. But that was incredible racing that I've seen in Austria. Not many people go side by side for how long they can and do it well, and these two have been doing it absolutely brilliantly, as we can see Milson once again trying to go for the lead. This time he takes the right hand side line. He takes a line that I don't usually like to take around this circuit, but Babatunde shows why I don't take that line around this circuit, because he has a better line going through 3, but I believe, does Milson get DRS? No, he doesn't, so Babatunde may cut back at him in towards 4. Remember, that's where Hamilton and Albon collided many years ago, but luckily those two have not collided, which is great to see. And they do not go side by side through there anymore. Unless Babatunde may want to try and go for a late lunge through there, which he does not. And they almost make a bit of contact there, but fair play to the two of them. I have to say, I'm very, very impressed.
You can't take your eyes off this battle for the moment. I did briefly take my eyes off because as these two weren't colliding, we did see Stephen have a collision of some description with a wall, I believe it was, and missing a front wing. But as soon as we stop talking about this lead battle, it starts heating up again through turn 1. They are nose to tail once more, coming out of Niki Lauda, down through the kink of turn 2 and into the turn 3 hairpin. Not a position you'd expect to see a move actually into this hairpin, though I think at this point Babatunde, if he's going to retain the lead, he's going to have DRS as their side by side was just behind across the line. The flat opens on the Alpha Tauri. It was a better drive away from the corner. Stephen is out of retiring in the pit lane following that incident, but Babatunde is going to retake the lead then with the aid of the DRS. And Finbot having to drop back in behind, but immediately cutting back around to the outside, feeling the drive. And once again, they're going to be side by side through the middle sector. Finbot just about eking it out this time, but these two are absolutely going at it in this race. 9 laps done, and I don't think there's been a single one where these two haven't been fighting. It's an absolutely incredible drive from the two of them. Even through this final sector, Babatunde is trying to see if there's a gap and a position to take a position through turn 9, but now through turn 10 we start another lap driving over a piece of what looked like carbon fiber there, the two of them, but no harm done. But once more around the outside, no, of the inside even goes Finbot this time into turn 1, forcing Babatunde out wide. But now DRS is what Babatunde has coming back towards turn 3, and will get it down towards 4 as well. He's going to dive up the inside into the turn 3 hairpin once more, leaving just a little bit of room on the outside. And again, they're going to be side by side. And again, Babatunde is going to have the DRS, but Finbot's got the better drive. So we're going to see side by side into turn 4 once more. Finbot on the outside, Babatunde on the inside. And how long can they hold it side by side this time? It's all the way around turn number 5 we go. Still side by side. The inside this time for 6 is Finbot's, but still just holding on Babatunde to the outside. Going to have to concede through turn 7.
Oh, Snake's out!
I just don't want to breathe. Yeah, Snake's gone out. Well, all of this has been going on. Snake's gone out. That's halfway down the straight. So it looks like an incident that started at the end of turn 1, perhaps.
Yep, looked like it. But no safety car.
No, which means this battle is going to continue as once again Babatunde is going to have DRS down the main straight. And I feel like at the end of this one, Jess, we're going to need oxygen canisters for the amount of talking we're going to have to do about these two alone.
Yes, and I think they're probably going to be annoyed that we are talking about them too much. There's probably going to be a bit more pressure between two of the drivers, but the way Babatunde is overtaking, he's not even using ERS. Just look at that. He's just going for brave and bold moves without using ERS, but he's going to use ERS on the straight now. Finbot has got past him, but we got Babatunde who's going to go to the left now, and we'll see how Finbot takes this as well. Oh, he had to slow down because otherwise he would have made contact. Fair respect to Babatunde there for trying to avoid any possible incident between the pair of them, because that's what we do not want to see after them two fighting so well. So fair play to him, as Ruff has been on those tyres, by the way, for 10 laps already. I don't know how he's managing to go on those tyres for so long, but he is right now. As Finn, is he going to the pits? Yes, he is going to the pits. He's gone onto the grass a little bit there for good measure. Oh, he's out! He's out of the race! He's pinned in the pit lane! Finn, what have you done? Finn!
Oh no!
Finn!
Oh no!
Oh my goodness, Finn! Oh my God, we have been robbed, Paul. Oh.
We have. We've been robbed by the pit lane entry. There's still side-by-side action going on, I believe, because Finn's car somehow... No, that's not Finn's car. Was that F1 Nerd fighting? It was F1 Nerd having a bit of a fight with Cagey Boy through
and Finn, don't leave the session. It's going to cause glitches. Oh, for goodness sake, Finn.
Oh dear, it's all gone all gone wrong for Finbot, as it was looking like it was about to all go wrong for KG Boy there down through turn 4, losing the back end just a little bit. And we saw Notorious Fella was right up behind, having to lift off a little bit then, which has lost him a position to Banana Josh, who was ready to pounce. So these guys having a bit of a fight and a jostle around in the midfield at the moment. The rest of the order, while all this has been going on, Babatunde now leading quite comfortably from Ruff, who is coming in finally to remove that set of soft tyres from the Mercedes. F1 Nerd now inherits P2, KG Boy P3 with Banana Josh now P4. Fella will take P5. In fact, no, Fella's coming to the pits as well, so Hun is going to inherit P5. As it is
Babatunde's
Oh,
fault.
no.
No one wants to lead
and that's
a
a
race
disqualification as well. He's been disqualified for that. For blocking the pit lane. So that's Babatunde out of the race as well. Does this mean Ruff is going to win? Or who's going to win? On a pad, yeah. After that start, he's in a good position for this. But we had that battle with F1 Nerd, KG Boy. They're all battling away as well. Hun's not too far off this fight either. So a good pit stop now could bring any one of these into contention for a race win or the podium.
No one just wants to win this race. No one wants to win this race. It's like last week. People who are in the league keep crashing that F1 Nerd. Whatever you do, just keep it on the track, please. Because otherwise, we're going to be in for some carnage, which we do not want to see right now. But Babatunde is absolutely kicking himself in the chat, which I have to say I'm so gutted for him for doing that. But he's now dead last now, because obviously he got disqualified. Yellow flag. Now it's Alex out. They're all dropping like flies. Now, I thought there will be less carnage than Miami. I think we're getting more carnage than Miami. We've got a safety car now. That brings the likes of Hannah, Ginge back into this now. Hannah just pitted onto a set of the hard tyres, which will definitely get to the end of the race. If you haven't pitted yet, and you're on mediums, now's your best chance to go on a set of hards, get to the end of the race, and that is your one-stop done free pit stop as well. So there you go.
Yeah, so Weller's in the pits now, and Weller might actually... Oh, no, Weller's going to come out of the pits. Still behind, I think, but I'm expecting we'll see F1 Nerd in, who F1 Nerd's got a penalty to his name as well. It's worth noting. KG Boy is no doubt going to be in. Josh going to come in. Hun, I imagine, will come in as well. Ruff isn't, because he's just pitted already.
That was lucky for Ruff. So
it was
lucky.
Indeed. There goes Weller then past the safety car. The safety car is going to wait to pick up the race leader, but this will bring Weller back into it, of course. Able to re-catch up with the back of the pack.
Was Weller let down? I think he was, so he's got his lap back. He's got his lap back due to the leader's pitting.
That's why I was talking about it, because I thought, oh, Weller's going to inherit the lead here, but then no, because he was a lap down. No, he won't. But F1 Nerd is going to retain the lead from KG Boy and Banana Josh at the moment. Hun will come out just a little way behind Ruff, in fact, it would appear. No, Kenzie come in. So yeah, so Hun's going to come out behind Ruff. Ruff has actually managed to jump past Banana Josh. Legal
overtake. No? What?
I believe everything should sort itself out there. Maybe just because of the way that they were coming out of the pits, it'll all get sorted out. But now, essentially, Ruff is on the same strategy as everybody else, give or take 2 laps. So, definitely going to be in with a shout on the pad of taking a race win. Hun, as well, is right up there with our lead drivers. But F1 Nerd is now the one with the pressure. Don't be another statistic.
Don't be the one that bottles his safety car.
Across the last couple of weekends of racing, I have been part of statistics. Weird statistics, like people bottling it out of the lead, have been a key thing. So let's not have any more of that, F1 Nerd. Just keep it on the grey stuff, and you should be in a good position here.
Up to 10 drivers. Don't forget top 15 score points if you finish. So that's more of a reason to keep going as well. And if you crashed in lap 1, turn 1, and you're still in this race, you still have a relatively good chance of coming back into this. Let's look at positions gained out of all the drivers today. Banana Josh has gained the most, up 13. Ruff and Kenzie up 10. We've got Weller that's up 7. Mr. Ginge up 4. F1 Nerd up 5. KG Boy up 1. Hun up 4, as well as Ginge. Yeah, well, he said that. Both the Alpines up 4, so they're up 8 in total. The only one that's lost anything is Fella, who's down 2. Hannah hasn't gained or lost anything. So no matter what happens, as long as she finishes this race, she's going to gain quite a bit. So that will be good. Now, in Monza, we saw F1 Nerd have a safety car infringement for not doing the safety car restart correctly. Now, I hope he has learned his lesson from Monza, and he's been told how to do a safety car restart, and does not cause a pile-up like what happened in Monza, F1 Nerd. So, we are going to see what happens for him, to see what he can do, and we'll see if he gets this restart nailed. Pretty much everybody, I believe, let me look at tyres, doesn't have to stop again. Maybe Ginge potentially, but everybody else should be fine. Kenzie's on mediums, though. That's going to be a bit of a risk, but he is just pitting onto them. He could just about get it on the safety car, but it depends on when the safety car comes in as well, which is now.
Yeah, so now is going to be the restart. Now is the time that F1 needs to put those safety car restart lessons to good practice and get ready to lead the cars around the final couple of corners to not cause a pile-up and to hopefully run away in the lead of this race, if you are McLaren at the very least, because this is going to be the lone finishing McLaren if F1 does make it to the end of the race with the crash out we saw from Finbot on the pit entry. And here goes the safety car restart then, nailing the restart, yeah, pulling away already from KG Boy, so caught sleeping a little bit there in the Mercedes, and that gives a comfortable little gap to KG Boy. But now, as everything starts to cycle back in again, the gap's starting to come down. Are we going to see any moves down on the first corner of the restart? No, it doesn't look like it for the time being. But I'm gonna sow some discourse here, and it's getting cloudy. We were talking about the potential for rain towards the end of the race. The clouds have started to come over. It's definitely darkening out there on the track at the moment. It started out sunny, don't forget, 17 laps ago. And now, halfway through this race, the cloud cover has started to come in, and could we be potentially seeing some showers towards the end of the race? That could be interesting. Maybe that is why Kenzie has gone onto the medium tyres, has seen the weather forecast, has predicted the rain coming in before those mediums will die, and will use that extra pace to gain some positions before the need to swap tyres. We'll have to keep our eyes on that one as the race unfolds, but a lap through on the restart, F1 Nerd is still leading for now, ahead of KG Boy and Banana Josh.
Yeah, the top 3 as it stands, but yeah, it's getting very darker as it stands, and according to some of the drivers, they said it's going to rain within 60 minutes of the race, but if there's quite a lot of safety cars, we may get to that as well. So these drivers, I think, have got to be aware of how to approach the weather, because you never know, it could come a bit earlier than 60 minutes. It may come even earlier than 45 minutes as well, so they've got to play the long game. And with most people doing their mandatory stops, which we'll get to the end, if it's not dry enough for inters, then that's fine. Their tyres could still get to the end anyway, not a problem. But it's a bit of a risk for Kenzie as well, as Banana Josh might try and send it down the inside of KG Boy, but backs out of it at the moment. But he's in huge danger to Ruff behind as well. DRS will be activated very, very shortly then for most of these drivers to see they can try and get the overtake. Quite a few people have fallen in danger going out of DRS. That's Hun, Kenzie, Weller and Ginge. Everybody else is still within DRS range, so they can potentially get that overtake done, and we could see some moves. A lot of people are being cautious. I think everyone that's still on around this track, I think I'll take keeping it cautious after seeing what happened to a lot of the drivers earlier on as well, but we'll see what they can do. DRS has been enabled by the game, so we will potentially see some overtakes. I think Josh could be the first one that gets overtake. He's very, very close to KG Boy down, and he could try and get P2 off of him as well. Hasn't had any luck at all in the race he take part in. Can this be the race where it starts to change for him as he goes down the right hand side into T3, and he nails that very nicely indeed, up to P2 then. But we got Ruff as well, who's trying to get past KG Boy, but he's not succeeding right now. But we'll see what he can do as he takes evasive action, and he gets past KG Boy up to 3rd place. So he's in a podium position now. F1 Nerd's got a time penalty. So as it stands, Banana Josh and Ruff will be fighting for the race victory with 17 laps, 18 laps still of this race still to go, which is very, very exciting, as Banana Josh has also picked up a 3-second penalty. So now it's Ruff that is leading this race.
Yeah, I'll just check on the penalty situation that we've got going on as well, because I've been keeping one eye on it. I believe, for example, so it was multiple warnings for Banana Josh. He has had previous warnings, one at least. Yeah, so that one is a legit one. I was checking earlier on with Mr. Ginge as well, because I thought his might have been a multiple limits thing. Oh no, he exceeded on tracks. So yeah, so all the penalties at the moment seem like they are legitimate penalties. No penalty glitches, no multiple track warning glitches appear to be going on. So yeah, not expecting any of those to go anywhere at the time being, which does put Ruff in the driving seat really for this race, which on a pad, having qualified, what, P14? Was it that Ruff started this race? Absolutely.
Is he on the wheel now?
Stellar. Is he? I
don't know, because it's hard. It doesn't look like he's on a pad now. But I don't know. I'm just imagining things probably.
I'm gonna keep one eye. I mean, his throttle traces look pretty smooth, but I know that's possible with the controller. It's really where the steering input is gonna be. If I'm gonna ride on board with Ruff through turn 1. Let's see if we can figure it out. It's looking very smooth through there as well.
Oh, Josh!
It's very wide goes Josh, and Ruff isn't going to have to ask twice to take that position away. I had a great view of that from on board, and now look at the run that Ruff's got as well on turn 1. Had to brake early, and a little bit of a lock up there. He locked the rears going into turn 3 there as well, and couldn't get the power down either coming out of the corner. So a sigh of relief can be breathed by F1 Nerd, but not for very long, because here comes Ruff again, but backing out of it again, almost going into the rear of that McLaren. But Ruff is absolutely flying, and those steering inputs are looking very, very smooth. So maybe he has gone off to the wheel. I know pad players can be quick, and I know you can do things like this with a pad, but given the difference in performance from qualifying to now, maybe.
He may just want to have a bit of fun in qualifying, and then in the race he's probably back to normal. I don't know. It's hard to tell. His throttle and steering inputs definitely look quite smooth compared to on a pad, or it might just be that he's starting to get more comfortable. I don't know. I would like to know from Ruff how he may get past F1 Nerd. He's your net race leader at the moment, but he's got to be careful that he doesn't pick up any track limit penalties, because we don't want to see that from Ruff. That was very brave from Ruff there, on corner exit as he goes through there, as he goes into the race lead now, and takes the lead from F1 Nerd. So F1 Nerd's in 2nd, Banana Josh in 3rd. I think KG Boy will take both of them, I don't know, and I think it just shows if you pick up less penalties, you can be rewarded around this track, as we got hung on the back of KG Boy then. So that could be kind of interesting as well. Apart from that, apart from the top 5 battling, I think there's not many other battles happening at this stage. Hannah's still in P10 right now, and it may come down, if the rain does come, who's bold and makes the right choice at the right time.
Yeah, so Ruff is on the wheel. Finbot's confirmed that much in the chat. So we know for certain now Ruff is on the wheel, which does explain why he has suddenly taken the lead and is starting to run away. As Ruff so does. Look at that, 107.8. Absolutely running away now as another penalty comes this way. Quicker than qualifying indeed in race trim. Shows the difference that some people can find with a wheel and a pad. Actually, it's a good experiment if nothing else. But right now, if Hun and KG Boy can try and close back onto F1 and Josh, they could be in for a podium. So at the moment, F1 Nerd and Josh are running quite close together. If they start squabbling and losing a bit of time, they could potentially lose this podium as well as the race unfolds.
Yellow flag,
as there's another one, Weller's out.
Safety car maybe? Yes, safety car.
Full safety car again.
Ooh.
Are we going to see anybody pit for the mediums?
They only had one set of mediums though.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
It's not F1. If it was F1 2021, I would have definitely put a set of mediums on. but you only have one set of mediums.
Yeah, I forget that you don't get that tyre allocation anymore, do you? So you can't pit. It looks like Banana Josh is coming into the pits. So is he going to throw on the soft tyres?
Softs can't make it to the end. They can't. They just can't. They just.
Well, we saw Rough came off the softs after 11 laps. Just
no,
before
hardly
the first
anyone
safety
is coming in. Oh, Ginger's coming in.
In fact, no, Josh hasn't come into the pits, has he? No.
No, the only one that's come in is Ginger. Everyone else has stayed out. Or Hannah was in as well.
Yeah, it looked like Josh was coming into the pits. He took the line for the pits, and then he wound up not going into the pits. So that's maybe just making that final decision. There's another penalty for Ginger as well there. Is that... We had 2, 3... Yeah, that's like 11 seconds of penalties now that Ginger has, I think, which is not ideal, not what you want at all. But 9 drivers left out on the track at the moment.
Yeah.
It's that war of attrition all over again.
Yeah, we thought it wasn't going to happen. I swear, I hope it doesn't happen in my race later. But luckily, we don't have simulation damage in our league. I'm racing in later, which may mean that there'll probably be less retirements. But yeah, I think that I was expecting less, but I think obviously with my brain and my commentator's curse, I probably maybe jinxed it a little bit. But anyway, it happens. Quite a few people have got penalties as well. Let me get penalties. So 11 seconds for Ginge, 8 seconds for Notorious Fella. Banana Josh and F1 Nerd have got 3 seconds. Everybody else is squeaky clean in terms of penalties. I'm not sure if they got warnings or anything like that. Maybe Notorious Fella could come in and go and get it served, but if he's got a 5 second, but he's not. But it means that the rain could get increasingly likely at this stage. As Ruff in P1, F1 Nerd P2, Banana Josh in P3, Cagey Boy 4th, Hun in 5th. And the ones who got penalties must be a bit worried now.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out sort of roughly where everybody is warning-wise. Currently, squeaky clean is the order of the day if you are rough. Not a single track limits warning so far. Cagey Boy has only had the one. Hun has had a couple, I believe. I'm just going back and checking. There's one. And I'm sure I saw another one on here as well. I did indeed. So Hun's had 2. So Hun is very close to a penalty. So we'll be wanting to keep it very, very clean indeed. Kenzie, I believe, is another one that's not had many popping up. At least according to the race director. There's one there. And I believe that might be the only one. Yeah, so the drivers without penalties have had at least one. Apart from Ruff. Ruff's kept it absolutely clean. Everybody else has been pushing the limit just a little bit in this one. And Hun, the one really that needs to keep her eyes glued to the asphalt and the tyres glued to it even more. Because one more warning and she'll be staring down the barrel of a 3-second time penalty, which, given that there is a potential podium on the cards, she will not be wanting to do. I was saying at the top of the broadcast that the Alpines will want to bring home some good points to try and retake the fight to the top of the championship this time, having lost the lead over the last couple of weeks, with especially last week with a poor points finish. So Hun with the potential podium now will definitely not want to get a penalty, because that will remove that podium chance completely. But as it stands, F1 Nerd and Banana Josh with their penalties would drop back behind Cagey Boy and Hun. So Hun will have to fight Cagey Boy, I imagine, to try and get through. But podium definitely could be on the cards.
Oh, timing glitch.
As the timing glitch is going on right now as well. The timing tower having a little bit of a boogie.
That's probably, I think, due to the host leaving.
It should sort itself out momentarily, hopefully.
It might be Ginge desynced.
It could also
because
be...
everyone else is fine in the timings apart from Ginge.
Yeah, Ginge, who is still clear of the back of the pack. There we go. He's dropped back down to the back again.
Yeah,
now
so
he's
Ginge might be
sector
desynced,
1.
but I don't know.
Yeah, he did... I'm not sure why he's dropped that far back either. I'm assuming that might well be desync, as you say, because he was right on the group. But not anymore. I imagine the safety car will be coming in relatively soon.
Hopefully right now. Come on, go in. Migrating host again. Ruff has left the session.
Yeah, so Ruff's left the session now. That's an interesting
what has gone on here?
What is happening?
What is happening with this? So Ruff, the AI of the Ruff bot is pulling away, but F1 Nerd gets past. Cagey Boy, if you could check for me if we're still going after this, but I think it looks like we are. As Cagey Boy's got a good run on F1 Nerd. Actually, that was a brilliant run. As I believe Banana Josh is. Yeah, this lobby is weird. Because how did Josh get... Josh is leading now. Josh is leading the race. I think that is right. I think. Not entirely...
Red flag. It's red flagged.
It is red flagged. So, yeah. I think that is a shame there. That is what you get when hosts leave the lobby. Finbot.
Yeah, it is red flagged. Kira's confirmed in the Discord the race is going to be red flagged. On
so
lap 26.
If you have any drivers that you're engineering, tell them that it will be red flagged. I think we may as well leave the lobby so the drivers can be like, hang on what's going on here? But yeah, that looked very, very odd because there was quite a few desynced cars as well, which was odd. So we will both leave the session, but yeah, not the first time that I experienced some desync issues in the lobby that's caused things to happen, but we will see what happens. Hopefully they're not going to restart the session because I need to go in like 40 minutes, so hopefully they're not going to
imagine we'll be taking this from a percentage points point of view. Let me just I'm going to now immediately go and brush up on the rules and regulations. I know where the document is. Let's take a look and see if I can figure out here. I believe there is a rule in there for if the race is red flagged early. So let us take a look.
It may depend on how much the race has been done, I think, but we can check for you. Just hold on a moment.
I do not see anything about red flags in that particular rule document.
Well, I think it will be added, after today.
Yeah, this is of course always a learning experience and a learning curve to figure out what's going on. I know Finbot is sitting there in the chat at the moment saying,
if we have a large number of people dropping out red flag in the Discord server and promptly restart the session, but
are we restarting from lap 26 though?
I don't think we will, so it might. So that's what they're probably going to have to consider, I think, at this point. So, we literally don't know, because if it was like lap 3, lap 4, fair enough. The red flag will go out and we will restart from the beginning because that will only make it fair. But it's not until the end of the race. And yeah, Kieran, we know about the red flag. We kept an eye on race control. We're good little commentators.
We got it. This isn't our first rodeo.
Yeah, exactly. We checked. It's all good. That's he probably didn't see us leave the session either. But yeah, we'll find out what is happening at the moment. But I believe, would it be Ruff that wins the race? Because when the safety car was called, Ruff was in P1.
I'm seeing people congratulating Hon on getting third as well, given the penalty system. So
I literally, have they been told something that we haven't been told?
I'm not sure. I don't know if we're getting a restart. We'll keep you updated as soon as we know. No, Hon has said in her stream they're not going to restart.
Okay.
So I think now
sense.
it's just about finding out when to take the points for that race. So yeah, there, confirmation in the chat as well from Kia and Finn. No restarts. The session won't get restarted. So now it's just figuring out when to roll back to where the points are going to get handed out.
Probably, I think maybe maybe I think when the safety car gets probably called out.
Yeah, so standard red flag procedure from sort of real world F1 would roll back to the lap before, wouldn't it?
The lap before, maybe the lap before, like the safety car or something like that. But there wasn't much problems until the lap before the safety car came in. So it's gonna be hard to tell. But if I was a steward, I would probably do it a lap before the safety car was called.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Or
results
maybe
will
a
be
lap
taken from the
after, I
point of the
dunno.
safety car.
Pardon?
Confirmation. The results will be taken from the point at which the safety car was called.
So that at the point the one who calls the safety car retired, that's when the results will come. So it's time to get our results book somewhere. I need to get the stream open up on my phone. This is gonna be tricky at the moment. But hopefully AJ is in the chat and can help us with this as well, because he has to figure out all the penalties. It's hard to work out with race directors, isn't it? Because they can't get the race directors, which is not ideal. So I think whilst we figure that out, we're not going to keep you waiting any longer. We're gonna have to go. Sorry for the red flag situation, but there's nothing that any of us could have done. It's an unfortunate issue with the game, but it happens. But I'm sure whoever hosts the hobby next week will not leave the session. Thank you. Otherwise, I think there will hardly be any issue. I don't think if hosts don't leave sessions, but. Apart from that, any interlude, any thoughts about next week, Paul? Because next week we head to Hungaroring for the Hungarian Grand Prix. What would you make of that track?
It's going to be an interesting one, I think. The Hungaroring. It's not a track I believe I've actually covered in League Racing before. I'm trying to remember if I have. I don't think I have. I actually quite enjoy the track. It's going to be very. It does have some good racing going on, so. I'm expecting it to be another good race, but yeah, it's going to be intriguing to see how it plays out in the game. Being a track that I've never covered, I'm excited to see it, and hopefully we get a full race next time.
Yeah, fingers crossed. We will update you on the results next week on the stream, and you will be notified on Discord. So we do ! Join in the chat, join the FHK League Discord. You will be notified on the results and stuff. I think hopefully the provisional results will be posted so people know who's where. But the one thing we certainly know is Ruff has won. So yeah, congratulations for your third win of the season, Ruff. That's all we do know. But we don't know who's finishing behind him, or I don't know, penalties, I don't know. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. I think you'll be notified on Twitter as well. Follow us on Twitter at FHK League. Also follow us on Twitter as well. I'm at JessGames95, and Paul, what's yours?
At Zytrix.
There you
which
go.
Everybody will never get right. It's in the chat. There you go. So you don't have to try and figure out how to spell it, because nobody will ever know how to spell it. But yeah, all my social medias with the same tag.
Okay, perfect. So thank you very much for watching. Sorry about the early finish, but we will see you next week for the Hungarian Grand Prix. I've been Jessica Ball, Zytrix has been Paul, and we will see you next time. Have a good evening and goodbye.